I only realized once I heard the door close that he was preparing for the end. Without knowing that, I refused to let go. All for what? The organization, my principles, to save face? Or was it just for my petty pride? His warmth is quickly fading away, as if it's mocking my hypocrisy. Because I didn't want to face my own weakness after losing my composure, I rejected every variable. It's not that I didn't know how to long for someone. I only ran away because I was afraid to lose you, while arrogantly believing nothing could shake me. First we jailed Young, and now you. What's funny is that the longer we're apart, the more clearly I'm reminded of you. Even while seeing you get hurt, I always put myself first. It's been that way from the very start. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for breaking your heart, for not being honest, and for making promises I couldn't keep. With that being said, if you're like me, surely with this you know already what we're going to be talking about today. However, however, if you don't know, that means A, you're still innocent, which is not necessarily a bad thing, and B, you've been living under a rock and ignoring what one was going around, like what was going on around here. And to be fair, I do envy you. Very, very much. Because sometimes I do miss that innocence that was with me before the whole Boy universe and side stories and the whole shablam came like literally running like a freight train into my face. With that being said, we might have a problem today. It's not necessarily a problem per se, okay? But the microphone is kind of absorbing a strange background noise, if you will. I don't know exactly where the noise is coming from. We've been trying to discover the source of this very much big annoyance in my life today, but I don't know what's happening. So if you don't hear it, that means the editor managed to remove the annoyance from the audio, and then it's all good and dandy. However, if the background noise is still gonna be there, first things first, I'm gonna be feeling very sorry for you. I feel sorry for myself because I'm just, as I'm talking, I'm imagining how the whole thing is gonna sound, and yeah, I guess today is not my day. But if you can manage to get through the video without complaining about it, then it's all good. If you cannot stand the noise, which again, completely understandable, I will leave the link down below with the audio version of this. It's going to be a tad bit different, but you know, the audio there is way cleaner, or is going to be way cleaner. So, yeah, you have options. I give you options. I give you range, if you will, as the theater kids will say. So, fingers crossed that everything is going to go according to plan, but in case it doesn't, there's a backup, okay? Which I didn't want it to be the case since this is one of the titles that I really wanted to talk about. And you know, when you want something to be perfect, well, rest assured, everything is gonna go tits up in a second. So I should have expected this downfall on me, but at the same time, you know, we try to keep positive in here, despite the heat wave, despite the fact that my face is melting, despite the fact that I'm in severe burnout yet again. So, yay! And also, I don't know if you guys went to the My Chemical Romance concert. I did. And now it's a disaster because my head is still at Wembley. Like that show was mind blowing. Like one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life. And trust me, I've been to many a concerts and like this was something else. So my head is still over there. It's probably gonna be over there for the entire year. So there you have it. Like my body's here, but my soul has transcended the plane. With that being said, you know, you know me. You know the drill by now. I do always apologize for when I go MIA. I do feel sorry for when I go MIA because you know there's a whole lot of reasons and things and blah blah blah. Now today, for the first time in my life as a BL reader, as a content creator and the whole shablam, I don't feel sorry for having gone MIA for a while. And you know why? Because once I decided it was time to do this, I realized that I had a full sorry about that. A whole leap of chapters that I still needed to read. And boy oh boy, was it worth having a whole stack of chapters to read? Hell yeah. And if I did this video before, we wouldn't have had the chance to talk about all that happened in those last 5 chapters that I read. So kudos to me for being a procrastinator, because it literally saved my arse this time around. Now, because I've been saying everything and anything except the title of what we're going to be talking about, this is the day, you guys. This is the day, y'all. This is the day we're going to be talking about Per Boy Ignite the Dawn, aka what was supposed to be Per Boy side stories, and then it just became a whole different story on its own feet, but with less chapter than the OG story. So I'm a bit disappointed, but we'll get into the whole of that in a minute. Before diving into the topic, the usual. Now, as a disclaimer, this content may contain strong language, sexual references, mention of violence. You know the drill by now. If you feel uncomfortable at any point during the video, during the audio version as well, but for that, go to Spotify, go to the platforms, you will find it there. But always put your safety first. So if at any point in any of my videos, in any of my content, you will find yourself in an uncomfortable position, please feel free to abandon the space and we can see each other on happier and better tides. And like, I will never stress this like hard enough. I do love you guys being here, but always put yourself first. That is very important. And also, if you've been here for a while, I'm gonna stress this again, because like, and you're gonna be saying you're stressing a lot of things out today. It is very important, because at the end of the day, I'm creating this. I keep doing this because I see you guys and I see how you appreciate what I've been doing. And at the end of the day, you're the fuel that keeps this car going. So if you've been here for a while, I see you. I see your support. I see all the love. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope you're gonna keep staying here for the rest of the journey, for as long as the journey is gonna, continue. But if you're new, hi, a bit of an introduction, and then we're gonna carry on. So my name is Ellie. I am your host, and this is DNB, aka Dungeons and Boys Love. And how should I put it? How can we call this whole thing called DNB? It's very much all over the place space where we talk about old things and titles BL, without exactly being child friendly. Now, as I always say, this is the video version of the original podcast, so I'm trying to be as as censorship friendly as possible, but English is not my first language, so getting into a slippery slope is very easy for me. But yeah, I try to keep my composure, I try to keep it very professional in here. But with that being said, that's literally what it is. It's like a safe space that I've created to talk about the stuff that I like, and I'm sure a lot of other people like as well. And I never found something similar around, so I was like, you know what? I might as well start. I still feel a bit cringy about it, but I was like, at the end of the day, if I never start, I will never know how this is gonna go. So there you have it. With that being said, there's old videos there. There's like the old audio versions as well, so feel free to roam. And by the end of this video, I do really hope you're gonna stay here for a very, 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 very long time. And please, if you do so, if you've been here, if you're new here, whatever, please make sure to show the love and support in any way you possibly can. I know I do sound like a salesperson at this point, but like, please do. You can subscribe to my channel, you can share the video, you can share the audio version, you can like download the episodes, you will get the drill at one point. Feel free, do whatever you fancy, right? As long as you spread the love far and wide and everything is consensual. And your friendly reminder, supporting me is entirely free to do, and in return you're gonna get my undying love and appreciation. And I don't know, in this economy, I know it's not enough to pay the bills, but at this point in my life, that's literally the best thing I can offer you, so I do hope you appreciate. Maybe in the future I will be able to offer you more, but at this point, all I can offer is this mug and my love for you. But without further ado, let's dive into today's episode, because we do have a lot to talk about. To be fair, I thought I was going to have a lot to talk about, and then when I did the audio version of the podcast, the episode is not that long at all. I'm used to do like 1 hour long episodes, and this one happened to be only 30 minutes long. I was surprised, but to be fair, because again, as I said before, it's one of those episodes that I wanted to do for the longest time. So I guess the pressure was on, the expectations were really high, and the downfall went on myself. So I wanted to talk about 1,000 things, and I managed to do probably a couple of them. But I guess we'll just see how it goes this time around. So, ignite the dawn. Where shall we start? I know exactly where we're gonna start. I know exactly where we're gonna start. With the plot. Because again, if you are here, I am assuming, I think, reasonable to assume that you know exactly what we're going to be talking about. Like Per Boy, the Per Boy verse in general, it's something that only a hardcore BL fan knows about. So if you're here, you know. You know. However, if you stumbled upon here by chance because you were curious, because you saw like a person that looks like a boiled egg with a bit of makeup on, and you were like, what is going on over here? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna read a little bit about the plot for you, and then we can crack on from there. So we know the author by now. I mean, the author used to go by the name of In King, and now it's like Kinjin. So it's the same author. I don't know why they changed their name, but hey, to each their own. Who am I to, judge this thing? I've changed my name a million times throughout my whole career and everything, so it's all good. It's all good. We're not judging here. So, the plot. Baek Seung-hyun has lived in the shadows his whole life, nothing more than the deadly right hand of Yakuza boss, Shin Jae-il. But now, Jae-il is married with Doshik's sister, by the way. Just a friendly reminder that Kang Doshik has a sister who is even prettier than him, like, believe it or not. So that's who he married. Like, despite the fact that we thought that was never going to be like, that was the plot twist none of us expected, but there you have it. So now Jae-il is married, and Seung-hyun, for the first time in years, is left behind. Drifting through empty streets on the night after the wedding, Seung-hyun crosses paths with Yuta, a delicate ghost from his time in Japan. But what should have been a quiet reunion over a drink turns sharp fast. Yuta's sweetness curdles, his word cut deep, and before Seung-hyun can make sense of it, everything begins to burn. Uninvited and unrelenting, Yuta storms into his life, dragging with him the weight of the past and something far more dangerous. Seung-hyun begins to fear that dawn, when it comes, won't bring light, only fire. And that's it. So, if you didn't know what we're going to be talking about, you know. A little bit of the lore, to be more specific. The OG story, Per Boy, started a century ago at this point. I think it was 2018 or 2019 when it started, and it was a long and sad and very difficult journey. We got through it, we got our happy ending, but yeah, it was a lot to take. It was a lot to take. From that, we got a lot of side stories. We got side story upon another side story, and then I guess in a story of that length, because it was more than 100 chapters long, right? You get a lot of side characters, and there are certain side characters that the public very much adores. And of course, when you adore a character, you want to know more about what is going on in their life. I thought we were gonna get a side story about the twins. I'm not gonna dive deep into the twins because that's a rabbit hole I don't wanna go down to. At least not today. But that's what I thought we was gonna get. A very much deep and long side story about the twins. Which we didn't get as of today. But on the instead of that, we got Seung-hyun's side story. And to be fair, I didn't expect it. At least not to an extent. Because, I knew people liked him. Because, if you see the character design, I mean, we got Doshik in the main story already. And I mean, he's top. Not only is a green flag, he looks phenomenal, right? We didn't think we was gonna be able to top that as a character design. And then, all of a sudden, we get Seung-hyun, who, believe it or not, is even prettier than Doshik. Maybe it's just my personal taste, but the boy is he's got tattoos as well. He's the ideal of a man. Give me Seung-hyun any time of day. I'm sold. He can marry me if he wants to. Like, if at one point Yuta decides to leave him, like, the door is open. Like, the guy can always knock at my door. My house is not big, but, we can make it. I'm sure we can make it work. With that being said, without me be perving on 2D man any more seconds than what, like, I shouldn't even be doing this. But anyway, carry on. Surely I'm not the only one. So, when we get that kind of character, surely we want to know everything inside out about their life. And then, yes, one thing led to the other. We got Jail's wedding, and all of a sudden, we have an announcement about, not even side stories, a whole new situation that is going to happen, that is going to be called Ignite the Dawn, that is going to see Seung-hyun as the protagonist of that story. Now, if you've been here for a while, you know very well that when the announcement was made, I did a whole episode about the fact that the announcement was made. Like, you will find it, like, you're not gonna find the video version of it, but like there's an extended audio version of it, and it's called Waiting for Ignite the Dawn. And in said episode, I think, if I remember correctly, because it's been 1 year already, I believe it's been, like, it was March 2025 or April 2025 when I did that episode, so, like, it's been a while. It's been a while, and my memory is not as it used to be, so bear with me. But yeah, when I did that episode, like, as I like to do with any new BL titles that comes on my way, I do like to do some, like, how do you call it in English? Like, premonitions? Considerations? Like, pronostics? I don't know the exact word, but I like to kind of analyze with the elements that we have at that time. I like to analyze the characters, and I like to make assumptions about how the story is gonna go, based on my previous knowledge of that author, of similar BL stories and stuff like that. Now, usually when I do this kind of things, I just do it because it's fun. Like, it's my little pastime, if you will. So I just do it for fun. And when I do it, I rarely am wrong. I'm usually right, and I've always done it because, I'm one of those annoying people that is like, that likes to tell you, I told you so, when something happens, right? With this one, let me tell you, I got it completely. And when I mean completely, I mean, it was utter destruction. Like, I didn't get one single thing right, except the fact that they're gonna get the happy ending. But, like, that was a given. Like, with Per Boy, we had exactly the same thing. It was like tribulation after tribulation, and more obstacles and more suffering. It was torture until the point where, it was like, oh yeah, it's all done, it's all good, we love each other, we're good, happy ending. So that's the only thing that I got right. The rest of the things, like, if I was a general, I would have lost the war completely, down to the last man, I'm telling you. And if, again, not to repeat myself, but if I remember correctly, what I said was going to happen was that the story was going to be way softer compared to how Per Boy was. And boy, was I wrong. Was I wrong? Like, wrong doesn't even cut it. Because third time's the charm, pardon me. I'm going to repeat myself one last time, hopefully. If I remember correctly, what I said was, so, Seung-hyun and Yuta find each other after Jail's wedding. They're gonna bicker a little. So I was like, oh yeah, probably it's not gonna be off, like, the relationship is not gonna be off to the greatest start. Probably they're gonna bicker a little bit. I even said, boy oh boy, how innocent I was still. I thought all my innocence was gone after chapter 64 in Per Boy, but no, my innocence was still there, and it was shattered completely after the first 3 chapters of Ignite the Dawn. But again, we're getting there. Have some patience, grab a drink, grab the popcorns, because we're just at the tip of the surface, if you will. What I said was, yeah, no, you know what, it's not going to be off to a great start, and mainly because, start. Because Seung-hyun is going to be one of those people that are not going to be admitting their feelings at first, which he didn't. but not in the way that like. And what I said was, but Yuta is gonna make him change his mind because he's gonna be clearly he looks like one of those characters that is gonna be so nice and sweet, and it's gonna be like a very light-hearted, soft-hearted kind of story. And I guess my Delulu side was talking because after all the despair that we got from Per Boy, I was like, surely the author is gonna give us a bit of a breather. If anything, it only got worse from here. Ignite the Dawn makes Per Boy look like a walk in the park, like a child's play. I'm telling you. If you don't believe me, reread Per Boy, which I didn't in a while, but I should because I miss my voice, if you know what I mean. But reread Per Boy, read Ignite the Dawn, and then you can tell me what you think about, like, because maybe, perception is a very subjective thing. I get it. So maybe I'm not exactly in the best time of my life, so I maybe tend to amplify things a bit too much. But when you look at Per Boy, right? Yes, we had some scenes that, like, when I said chapter 64, it might be 74, it might be 60. That's beside the point. The point being, around that area, there's a few chapters. I'm not even gonna say what happens in the. If you know, you know. If you wanna know, just go and read them. That's the second rabbit hole I'm not gonna go down to because that is gonna be too much. Those chapters I couldn't even read fully and completely. I just literally, when they came out, I just scrolled through them. So I kind of had like a gist of what was happening. I had a glimpse of what was happening. But even thinking about reading every single bubble, reading every single scene, it was too much. It was literally too much. So we got those kind of scenes, like the violence. You can't even call it violence at that point. Like, it was carnage, utter and pure carnage. It was too much. But despite the fact that we got these kind of scenes, and there was plenty, like, believe me when I say there was plenty of them. But despite the fact that we had all of that, at the same time, to counterbalance, we had all these tender scenes with Doshik and Joha, like trying to navigate through their life together, despite the fact that there was a psycho stalker that wanted to kill Joa that already made so much damage to Joa, and on the other side, we had Doshik that had his fair share of problems, if you know what I mean. So it's not like it was a light-hearted story per se, but we had many light-hearted moments that counterbalanced all the violence. And that what I guess it's one of the reasons why Per Boy is such a beautiful, relatable, and unforgettable story. Despite the fact that nobody should go through what Joa went through, like, nobody should go through that. And if anybody went through something like, that is absolutely horrendous. But it's relatable. We all get through life through tenderness and toughness. And that's exactly where the beauty lied in that story, amongst other things. With Ignite the Dawn, like, it was just one bad thing after the other. We literally. So basically, the author said the full story is gonna end with chapter 53, right? Surely we're gonna get all the side stories and all of that. Surely, if I know my author really well, we need the side stories where we see the whole, and after that, like, the whole after the happy ending, what is going on with the characters. Of course we're gonna get all of that, but like the main story is gonna be ending at chapter 53, which, like, rude. We deserved more chapters. But anyway, that's just me ranting because I am a greedy bitch and I can never get enough of the stories that I love. But moving on. So, if chapter 53 is our ending point, say from chapter 1 to chapter 49, we never had a second of break. Even during the backstory arc, like, it was a bit more tender, sure, but was it a break from all the carnage and despair? Absolutely not. And also, one of the differences that I found, like, from Per Boy to Ignite the Dawn, which was, it's not really a difference per se, it's just a different way of portraying a love story, I suppose. But like, while in Per Boy, the main focus is not what's happening around the main characters. The main focus is the love story between the characters and how it starts, how it develops, and how they overcome the obstacles, right? At least that's the impression they gave to me. Like, that was the main focus, without removing anything from like the main story that was, gluing the whole thing together. But like, that was not our main thing. Our main thing was seeing the boys and see what was going on with the boys. With Ignite the Dawn, I found like the two characters were not the main focus, and I'm gonna try to explain myself here. It might be a tad bit complicated, but try to follow me here. And if you don't follow me, again, this is not my first language. I'm tongue twisting myself, especially when my brain is like scrambled like it is today. It's very easy. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, I do apologize. But you can always comment and I can always try to explain myself again. So you know what to do. But without me being the complete dork that I am. Surely the story follows like Seung-hyun, Yuta, what's happening with them now, like has the story, like how the story has been structured basically. We see them first when they see each other again after all the years that they've been separated. Then we see them starting a new sort of relationship together in the present. Then we get the whole backstory, which explains to us how and why Yuta behaves the way he behaves. And like basically it explains to us how they started falling in love with each other. Yuta being more evident and consistent with his love, while Seung-hyun is that kind of character that starts falling in love without realizing until, the very end. Like the extract that I read you was from chapter 40, I believe. And yeah, that's exactly when he realizes. So it took him a while, if you will. But yeah, we get the backstory. And then from the backstory, we get something more, and then we get the happy ending. With all of that, I felt like they were just a collateral to a bigger story. And again, that might be the case as well, because Per Boy was the main story, and they were just a side story that got a bit more glorified without being. I don't mean to offend the story in any sort of way. If I didn't love the story, I wouldn't be here talking about it, right? But it's like as if they used Seung-hyun's and Yuta love story to explain us a bit the lore about what was happening in Per Boy, which is like all the mafia and the yakuza, and like sort of like the lore, the lore of the twins, if you will, because like they came from Japan. Seung-hyun is from Japan as well, so it feels like the author wanted to explain to us a bit more about the world of Per Boy, with at the same time giving us a love story. Now, is it necessarily a bad thing? Again, no, absolutely not. But at the same time, sometimes I was like, I wish we could see more about the boys rather than the fact that they are in the mafia and the mafia works, in a certain way and the universe works this way, da 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 da. Yes, it is very interesting. It was tough to follow at times, but it was very interesting. It shows you how particular for like the author is for like detailing the story and like the more details you give to the story, the better the story is, and the more you can expand the story, if you will. But at the same time, I'm like, sometimes, majority of the times, if you will, we read BL stories because we want to see the development of the love. And we never got that love. We got only angst and like suffering, which again, it does make sense because of the backstory of the characters and how the whole thing was supposed to be basically a redemption arc for both of them. And like, it was the way for them to get from point A to the happy ending. But again, I wish we explored the characters' feelings more rather than the lore. that the story is set in. But again, without sounding like a broken record, as I like to say, at the end of the day, it's all about personal taste. Some people might have loved this kind of structure. Maybe it's just my perception of the story. Maybe it's a completely different thing. But that's what I got from my whole journey in reading Ignite the Dawn. I guess we could say we can end it here because at the end of the day, there is not much more to say. The boys got their happy endings. We're gonna get the side stories, which once we get them, I'm gonna do a whole episode about because I do believe since this has been like one of the angriest journey that we've ever had to, overcome. It's only fair and square. We've done the beginning, we've done the story, and we're gonna do side stories. But I wanna leave with a consideration, which is, and not because I like to go back to Per Boy all the time, but that's just how I am. But I do believe that after Ignite the Dawn's side stories, we're gonna get more Per Boy side stories. And I say this because when you see the page of the comic, it says it's on hiatus. It doesn't say it ended. Like usually when a comic book ends, it ends and that's it. It says it's on hiatus. Like it says the comic will be back. Rah rah rah. So is there anything else cooking in the Per Boy universe jar? Only time will tell. Now, according to me, I do hope that is going to be the case because, I can never get enough of the boys. Oh, and speaking of the boys, can we just address the elephant in the room just for 1 second? How good looking is Kang the Chic dressed as a burly woman? Like, when you think the boy cannot get any better than how he is, we got that. We got that. And it was superior. I don't even know how to describe it if not as perfection. Perfection. With that, today's journey has come to an end. I do believe I have forgotten the other million things that I wanted to say. But I told you, when I set my expectations too high, that's when, that just, it leads to my downfall. So I do hope that whatever things that I said have kept you entertained for the day. I am sorry if I put Per Boy yet again in the topic, but I just cannot help it. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but when I like something, I always go back to it like a safety blanket, and the fact that they're part of the, like, both Per Boy and Ignite the Dawn are part of the same verse, it was only natural for me to do the confrontations and stuff. With stressing yet again that when I do all these little, like, when I underline the differences and all of that, it's not for criticizing one thing or the other, it's just to explain to you the things that I noticed in hopes that you lot, in return, are gonna tell me what you did notice, and yeah, just to open the debate a little bit. I would never say Ignite the Dawn is a bad story. On the contrary, I told you, it's only 53 chapters long, and I wish the story was gonna be way longer than that. I wish it was explored a bit more. I wish a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I'm not the author, so it is what it is. I guess better this story than no story at all. So again, I hope I kept you company long enough in this heatwave. I hope you're gonna tell me all about your opinions in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions about any other episode that I should do, please feel free to do so, because at the end of the day, I do this for you, so I do encourage you to please tell me if there is any topic you are particularly interested in about, and I should proceed to create the episode. With that being said, I bid you adieu for today. I look like I just realized I put myself in this position. I look like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, but like literally, the eczema, I don't know if you guys can see it, but like the eczema is like, it's been something else. So my hands are so itchy. So when I do this, it means that I'm trying to scratch myself, but not too much so that I don't draw blood, because like otherwise it's a disaster. With that being said, thank you so much for your undying love and support. I do appreciate you, as I said before, but I'll never get tired to say it. I will see you very, very soon. I don't know with which topic yet, so it's going to be a surprise. But in the meantime, please stay hydrated. Please make sure to engage in plenty of kinky, but always what? That's right, consensual activities. And I will see you all very soon.